Good morning, anglers. This is Anglers 48 coming to you from Far, Texas. Thank you for joining us on this episode. What's in store? We're going to be talking about the things you need when you're boating. So let's go ahead and get to work, guys. Thank you once again for joining us. If you're new, buckle up and tag along. All right, guys. So when you're out boating, it's very important that you service your boat. When I mean service, check the oil levels, check the tire pressures, make sure that the lights are working, that there's no issues as far as maybe the loose connections here, the pressure on your the gas tank. Make sure that you don't have it closed. A lot of the times we get into situations where the motor bogs down and we're already thinking the worst when it's simply that it can't breathe. So tighten it when you're pulling the boat, and when you're out on the water, just let the pressure go and you'll be in good shape. We're looking at the lights, make sure that they work. Very important. A day or two before, start the motor, let it run, have the thermostat open, make sure that it's peeing correctly. Make sure that there's a good flow. If you see that the flow is kind of lightly streaming, see if you can correct that. We have a little pin that you stick in here. That pin, super important when you're out there. So what this video is about is the regulations. What is it that you need when you're out on the water? Not what you want to take, but what is necessary so that you're in compliance with the Texas Parks and Wildlife. So if you look here, guys, a couple of things are needed. This is the inspection sticker. These are your numbers, right? It has to be current. Don't go out there with an expired inspection sticker, all right? 9 times out of 10, there's always a game warden, Coast Guard on your way back, checking your compliances. From a distance, they can see that 3, and they can see that maybe it's August and you have it cut out July, so you don't want to get any tickets. You had a beautiful day out on the water to come in and get this $200 or $300 ticket when you can just get it corrected. Also, the plates, get the plates in order. If you have them expired, get that taken care of. It's about $75-80. Get that taken care of. You'll be good for the whole year. What does the Coast Guard and game warden require? First of all, they require a thrower right here. It has to be Coast Guard approved. I don't remove this tag, not very recommended. Have it handy, have it ready, okay? If you don't have it, you will get a ticket, okay? Somebody falls over, a loved one, a child, don't jump in there. Throw them this, right? Throw them this. They will be safe. If you notice distress, that's your loved one, you do what you have to do, my friend. You do what you have to do, but take that in there. Very important. Keep it on the ready, guys. Keep it on the ready. Don't have it somewhere where you have to get a lot of junk to get to it, right? So very important. Also you need a fire extinguisher. Make sure that it is working. When was it? It was a 4th of July, and I was out fishing with my sister on my boat, and the game warden pulls us over, greeted us, everything's going good. He asks for the fire extinguisher. I hand it to him. As I'm handing it to him, I tell him, "Sir, man, it's brand new, hasn't been used." And I could feel it. It was very heavy, but he points out that it was no good. And then I realized, it hit me, that a couple of days prior to that trip, I pulled a pin and used it just to make sure that it was working, not thinking that once you engage it, it's no good. All right, even though it feels like it's full, it is no good anymore. So he was able to cut me a break on that one, but I could have been in trouble there. So don't use it unless you really need it, okay? Because that's you waste it. So you do need that fire extinguisher, very important. Some boats that don't have any enclosement, it's not necessary. But if it has a built-in tank, it is a requirement. This boat in particular does not have a built-in tank. The Best Tracker Classic XL still came with it, and I keep it in there. You never know. Better safe than sorry. You would hate to bail out, have to jump into the deep water, especially with children, with family, simply because there was no fire extinguisher. So let's move along. We got the flares, guys. We do need flares. These are required by the Coast Guard, and it says approved. Make sure you get these right here. Keep them out of the elements. These they tend to expire. They tend to how should I say, if moisture gets to them, they'll get ruined, and you don't want to be cut out there in need of rescue at night specifically, and you don't have anything to get a hold of somebody. You need your vest. I see a lot of people not wearing their vest. I see children not wearing a vest. There's 5-6 people on the boat, not one has a vest, and it is not required to wear it, but it's uncomfortable. People want to get a tan. People, want to sport their logo shirt, their new shirt. They want to sport it. It is important. Wear it, okay? The Coast Guard is critical on this one and that one. They want to save lives. Houston PD recently put shorts up on the importance of being safe, and I applaud the Houston Police Department for that. They recently escorted a kayaker who wasn't wearing a life jacket to the shore for his safety. Okay, so make sure that you do have a life jacket. Please wear it. Safety first all the time. There is no warnings for not having a vest. There's no excuse. There's no excuse, especially if you're a seasoned angler. Okay, never take it out of the boat. This one should be on the boat at all times. You have to have a bow light. Okay, make sure that it's working before you leave. Test it out. You need a stern light. This one needs to be on when you're anchored at night. Okay, during the day they will ask for this, sir, but we're not fishing at night. Doesn't matter, you need it. It's the law. Once again, you do need a rope. You need a rope to tie it up here in the front, a mid cleat, to be able to hold the boat. I see some boaters show up to recover their boats and they don't have an anchor line. Something happens, there they are, having to hold the boat by hand. So it doesn't take much, doesn't cost a whole lot. Get a bow line, anchor line, very, very important. Take an anchor line. A lot of people do a lot of drift fishing. They don't do much of anchoring. They may have the those anchors on the back, the power poles, which is fine, but my recommendation, take your anchor and your anchor line. Those are critical. They don't work. There's issues with the motor. How can you keep the boat from drifting, especially away from the shore? So take it with you. Also, inspecting the the boat over here. Make sure that the horn works. This is a requirement. It is a requirement right there. Make sure that the fuses on your boat are working. Make sure that you hear this. Test the aerator. Test the bilge, specifically the bilge. Make sure that the lights are working. Okay? Work those switches. Work those switches. Make sure that the safety lines are attached correctly. Make sure that the pin is inserted. Tug the tongue to make sure that it doesn't pop out. The retrieval line right here. Make sure that it's in good condition. Make sure that it's tight correctly. When you're winching the boat up, make sure that it's locked. Okay, very important. Also, guys, you gotta make sure that these are tight. They're from the factory, but with the vibration, the use, they could come undone, and it could prove to be a problem when you're doing the recovery. You don't want to lose this right here. Make sure that these are tight. It doesn't hurt. Get a wrench, tighten them up right there. Spare tire. A lot of people, oh, I have brand new tires. The distance from your home to where you're going to be boating is not a very close distance, so very important to take a spare tire. Check the air on the tires, make sure that they are inflated correctly, properly. What else? When you get to the water, make sure that the bilge doesn't start. If the bilge starts, if you start seeing water come out from here, there is a problem. Do not take off. This one is critical, guys. Two items that are super critical as well. Make sure that you take your that you take your drain plug. This is critical. About a day before you go, put it on. Make sure it's tight. I would recommend that you have an extra one. You never know. Make sure it's working. This is required by law. A lanyard. You need to wear it on your person. Put it and then clip it to your vest. There is a law that went into place because a child, I believe, lost her life, and the game wardens, the Coast Guard, they're not going to be forgiving, guys. They are not going to be forgiving. Oh, officer, I forgot. No, there's no excuse. Anything can happen. We lose control of the steering. Everybody flies out of the boat. That's a big motor right there. A big motor. How can you control it? How can you stop it? So they are not going to be forgiving. They're not going to be forgiving if you don't have your life vests, your extinguisher. Specifically this right here, because you can hurt yourself and kill others. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys, as far as what is required by the Texas Parks and Wildlife. If this is catching you as new, please help anglers out. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to leave a comment, maybe you've had a fishing experience that you want to share, go ahead and do that. This is, once again, as much as I love fishing, as much as I love boating, I'm super terrified of the water, if that makes any sense. I'm sure some of you guys are terrified of the water as well. I'm always checking the wind. I'm always checking the weather. Anything over 15, I won't go. If it's 5 to 10 mile an hour, I will go. Some people say it has to be windy so that their drifting can work. I see that point. I do see that point. But be safe out on the water. Take advantage. If you don't have any of those supplies, specifically here in Texas, you know, go ahead and get them. Don't leave to the water without them, right? And please be safe. I hope this helps, and I'll leave you with that, guys. Thank you for watching.